When people think of the strongest form of Goku, they may think of the current one from Dragon Ball Super that defeated foes such as the overpowered Jiren, or the tricky arch-nemesis of the Kaioshin known as Moro. Or they may even think of the 100-year time skip one from the end of GT. But what if I told you that there is one Goku who is so powerful that in base alone would be able to take care of the Omni King Xeno, the Angels, the Grand Priest, and the Gods of Destruction all in one fell swoop? Yep, that is right. That is where the Goku from the Super Dragon Ball Heroes anime and manga comes in. In this video, I'll be covering his various accolades, feats, and scaling relevant to him, as we dive deep into not only the Dragon Ball Heroes anime, the games, and the Dragon Ball Xenoverse games as well, to basically provide a composite overview of how overpowered he truly is. First off, I'd like to briefly mention that Capsule Corp Goku, CC Goku, although he did go through everything that we have seen thus far in the Super anime, he also went through the original 13 Dragon Ball Z movies, where he showcased impressive feats, such as keeping up with Metacooler, who could track him in the middle of instant transmission, flying an infinite distance from the afterlife to the bottom of hell in just a few moments, and managing to overpower and defeat the Galactic Quadrant, destroying Broly. This means that baseline, this Goku is already more powerful and more experienced than the one from the main Super timeline. Before we get into his own impressive feats, I like to prove off the bat that Heroes and the Xenoverse characters are strictly way more cracked than anyone in the main timeline, and that although both do have their own stories, they are actually part of the same grand multiverse. But, due to their similarity in cosmology and assets, they should be applicable to each other. Remember how Xeno wiped out a timeline in the canon Super timeline? Well, feats like that are nothing in comparison, as we have seen Xenoverse characters, like supervillain amped forms of Kid Buu, being able to wipe out time crystals, which represent timelines. For starters, Demigra in the first game in his base form alone, after absorbing Toki Toki, who embodies time itself and is in control of all dimensions, was powerful enough to wipe out everything, including the Time Nest, which contains countless or infinite time scrolls, which represent timelines. And this is further proven by Few mentioning in Xenoverse 2 that time is not finite, and other characters mention that history is infinitely branched. Chronoa, the Supreme Kai of Time and the Super Dragon Ball Heroes manga, also note that there are endless possibilities and countless timelines. And in destroying everything, he was also endangering to destroy the Crack of Time, a separate dimension from time with its own timelines. And he was also threatening to wipe out the Parallel Quest, which is a whole other set of infinite timelines that are not part of the official story. In fact, Demigra's battle with Goku and the Time Patroller also endangered to crumble the Crack of Time as well. Additionally, Demigra in Dragon Ball Heroes Ultimate Mission X was able to wipe out the entire multiverse as well, so it is quite consistent. So right off the bat, Demigra was gonna wipe out not one or two, but 3 infinite sets of timelines. It gets even more insane when you realize that a powered up Demigra was defeated by Super Saiyan 3 Xenoverse Goku and the Time Patroller. Goku, who in base by the way, somehow endured the 3 infinite timeline set attack from Demigra. And the even crazier part is, the Goku that helped defeat him was at a point before he even knew about Super Saiyan Blue, let alone faced off against Goku Black, Hit, or Jiren. This feat would also scale to post Battle of Gods Goku, as his fight with the Time Patroller was stated by Chronoa as being too dangerous as they could wipe out the Time Nest. Beerus is also stated, of course, as being able to do the same thing as well. Point is, we're not even at Super Saiyan Blue levels of power, and these characters can already endanger to destroy several sets of infinite timelines. Given that the afterlife is stated to be a higher dimensional realm in the Daizenshu, you can argue that the macrocosm is a 5th dimensional structure if you want to assume that time is the 4th dimension, but at the very least it would make the macrocosm a 4th dimensional structure if you're talking strictly about spatial dimensions. And it would make sense that it is a higher dimension, given that heaven, which is as wide as the universe, which is also stated to be infinite in the Daizenshu, is but a mere fraction of its size. And then you have time crystals contained within the Crack of Time, a dimension separate from time, yet connected to all dimensions, which can be argued as being 5th to 6th dimensional structures, given that they encompass multiple timelines and are larger than time scrolls, which represent baseline timelines, that already contain super dimensional spaces. Within Xenoverse 2 and the main story, Super Saiyan Blue Goku, prior to encountering Hit, managed to defeat a powered-up Mira alongside a second Time Patroller, whose overloading self-destructing power endangered to not only wipe out the universe, but that there was no telling just how far the explosion would go, given that Toa, who can travel to the Crack of Time or the Parallel Quest at will, thought that it wouldn't matter where she went, as the explosion would have likely destroyed everything up to that point. This means that even fodder characters in Xenoverse 2 are able to wipe out 5th to 6th dimensional structures casually. Plus, there is Beats World, which views that as fiction, and to damage it and destroy it, Demigra had to transcend dimensions to affect it, making these characters complex multiversal to the 7th to 8th dimensional range. Additionally, there's also a fictional Japan that monitors the arcade game, and can be argued as transcending the former, dimensionally speaking, since it views Beats World, including the super dimensions and the multiverse, as fiction. Which would make sense given that Beat was more impressed by enemies being able to reach the outside world and destroy it, than with other stuff he encountered in the arcade game itself, like Demigra shenanigans. So you could even wank it and say that they reach 8th to 9th dimensional ranges. There's also statements from Trunks backing up the notion that a Prime Ichikabura would be able to destroy Beats World as well, so you don't need to be a god tier to do stuff like this, far from it in fact. We also have stuff like Base Chronoa, who Capsule Corp Goku and Xeno Goku scale to and surpass, was able to hold back the destruction of not only the real world, but also the Dragon Ball Heroes multiverse as well. But we're not even close to being done on the power cliffing. Since in Super Dragon Ball Heroes, Xeno Goku, who I've covered in previous videos, managed to defeat a powered-up Demigra in Base or in Super Saiyan 1. This Xeno Goku, when he powers up to Super Saiyan 4, has such immense power that he would basically screw up time around the entire multiverse, and he even fought in a triple-way battle with a transformed Mira and Super Saiyan 4 masked Dark Dragon Ball amped Broly. This same Xeno Goku would then go on to receive numerous power boosts along the way, that in Super Saiyan alone, he managed to defeat another demon named Salsa, who was able to casually defeat a Dark Dragon Ball amped Janemba absorbed Buu, who would scale well above the aforementioned Demigra. Since Super Saiyan 4 likely grants a 40,000 times multiplier, as I've determined in previous videos, this means that Super Saiyan 4 Goku can wipe out these infinite sets of timelines tens of thousands of times over. And the most insane part, Capsule Corp Super Saiyan Blue Goku, after the Tournament of Power, was comparable, if not superior to him, and as such would scale from Xeno Goku's own insane feats and scaling. Now we get to the juicy part, and that is Capsule Corp Goku's insane power growth, which puts his growth in the Tournament of Power to shame. For starters, let's talk about the promotional anime, where Goku and Vegeta encounter Cumber, an ancient evil Saiyan who in base alone was able to hold off and overpower Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Vegito. Cumber does eventually showcase his Golden Uzaru form, which was ridiculous overkill in my opinion, but it is fair to assume that base Cumber was more than enough to tussle with this Vegito. Eventually, Super Saiyan 4 Xeno Vegito steps in, who was able to hold off an even stronger Super Saiyan 3 Cumber. This is absolutely insane given that Super Saiyan 3 Cumber, who is 400 times stronger than the base Cumber, who could hold off Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Vegito, was casually defeated by MUI Goku, with Xeno Goku being immensely shocked by his insane level of power, likely surpassing that of Xeno Vegito. A beat-up Goku is then rescued by the Grand Priest, revitalized and much stronger than ever before, to the point that he has a decent amount of control over Ultra Instinct Omen, which allows him to make a laughingstock of the Tuffle twins, Kamen and Orin, who were able to give Hit a difficult fight, and at one point even took over Vegeta, with Goku being able to forcefully split them apart, in which you can argue that Goku in this form has some type of spirit fission as well. Omen Goku also manages to beat the hell out of a fused Colgate toothpaste sponsored Kami Orin. Unfortunately, Omen Goku expends too much energy in trying to destroy Lags' glass crystal and detransforms, but manages to basically withstand her barrage of attacks. Lags will be important later on, but basically the fact that she was able to actually stagger Goku is really impressive. Eventually, a super strong guy named Hearts appears, who with his gravity cubes manages to overpower Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta and Jiren casually, who was able to hold off a base Cumber rather easily, and as such, he should be stronger than him, and Lags as well if he commands them. Remember how Lags gave Omen Goku a hard time? Well, Base Metal Cooler, he came out of nowhere, was able to beat the hell out of her rather easily, and then encounters a stronger Super Saiyan 3 Cumber, but still gets defeated rather easily once he transforms into his golden form. This means that Golden Meta Cooler is over 400 times stronger than a post-Zenkai base Cumber, who earlier was able to give Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Vegito a tough fight. And yeah, keep Meta Cooler in your mind because he will be important later on. Eventually, Hearts arrives to Universe 7 to enact this plan with the Universe Seed to gather enough power to challenge Xeno himself. But Super Saiyan Blue Goku steps in and manages to keep up pretty well with the transformed Hearts. And this is consistent since in the manga, Super Saiyan Blue Goku post-Prison Planet arc also manages to keep up with Super Saiyan 3 Cumber, who was able to fight against Super Saiyan 4 Xeno Vegito, and of course, Super Saiyan Blue Vegito. And you could even argue that he surpasses Prison Planet arc Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku as well. Ultimately though, a powered up Hearts manages to beat up Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and gives Kami Orin a power up, which in turn prompts Goku to unleash Mastered Ultra Instinct once again, and with the help of his friends, they manage to kill him once and for all. At this point, Hearts is like, oh shit, I'm actually kinda cornered now, so he decides to fuse with the Universe Seed, and becomes really powerful to the point that he slaps Jiren, Hit, Android 17, Piccolo, Trunks, Vegeta, and Goku at the same time. Granted, the Universe 7 fighters were exhausted, but it wouldn't have made any difference since Hearts was so strong that it took the combined might of Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta, Hit, and Jiren to defeat him once and for all. And it may not make much sense, but Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta here is far superior to the Master Ultra Instinct Goku that took out Kami Orin with a smidgen of Universe Seed energy. Then we get to the next arc where Goku gets even larger power boost in the Big Bang mission, where Fu, the real mastermind who was merely using the previous battles as experiments to fuel his plan, planted the Universe Seed to create a new universe by using the Universe Tree to sap the energy from the multiverse, which even Beerus himself admitted that he could not take out, at least easily. Speaking of Fu, earlier, he was capable of casually blitzing Golden Uzaru Cumber and cut his tail off in the Prison Planet arc, putting his power well above Super Saiyan 4 Xeno Vegito, Super Saiyan Blue Vegito, and I would assume Hearts as well. Eventually, Fu absorbs the power from Ichikabuto's Dark Essence and becomes Dark King Fu, who was strong enough to revitalize the Universe Tree after its roots were destroyed by a wish from Zarama, the Golden Dragon. And in this form, Fu is strong enough to keep up with Super Saiyan Blue Vegito and Xeno Vegito at the same time, who are likely superior to the Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta that bopped Godslayer Hearts. Unfortunately though, their mission fails and the new universe is created. In this universe, Goku gets chased down by Frieza and Metacooler, and thanks to this immense power, it basically awakens Omen Goku, and he defeats both of these Frost Demons pretty easily, which basically means that Goku was able to defeat two beings that far eclipse Super Saiyan 3 Cumber. Base Goku even goes as far as dodging attacks from them, until the Masked Warrior in Black, a variant of his father Bardock, manages to basically one-shot Dark Dragon Ball amped Golden Frieza and Golden Cooler, who were granted that power by the Crimson Masked Saiyan, a variant of Goku Black, who is immensely powerful in his own right, as we'll get further into later. Goku would also scale to Super Saiyan Blue Evil Ki amped Vegeta, who was able to casually defeat a stronger Super Saiyan 3 Cumber, and a transformed Turles, who was on par with Cumber as well. Meaning that Vegeta in this state is likely comparable to Omen Goku, and is likely stronger than his previous Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta state. Unfortunately, even as strong as these guys were, they could not have a chance against Goku Black. So basically they had to train for some time, and while the Super Saiyan 2 Hooded Bardock was able to contend with Super Saiyan 3 Goku Black, this is really crazy because this Goku Black and Super Saiyan Rose alone was able to defeat Hearts and Omen Goku, so he was immensely powerful, and Super Saiyan 2 Bardock was still able to hold his own against him. This Goku Black also considered Golden Cooler and Golden Frieza such pushovers that even in base alone, he wiped them out. After coming back from their training, Goku and Vegeta were much stronger than ever before, but even then, they had to fuse into Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta, who then prompted Goku Black into transforming into his full power Super Saiyan 3 state. Although the manga has slightly different scaling, it is implied by Shamel, another demon, that even as strong as Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku and Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta were, they were no match for Super Saiyan 3 Goku Black. Meaning that the Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Gogeta that defeats Goku Black was even stronger than the both of them. We don't have a multiplier for his full power Super Saiyan 3 state, but assuming that his Super Saiyan 3 state works like the typical Super Saiyan 3 multiplier, this would mean that Super Saiyan 3 Goku Black is 8 times stronger than Omen Goku, who in turn was strong enough to slap Golden Cooler and Golden Frieza, who were already stronger than Super Saiyan 3 Cumber, who was able to box it out with Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Vegito in base. Since Super Saiyan Blue Evolution grants a similar multiplier to Kaioken times 20 as implied in the Tournament of Power, and since that's what it took to defeat, Goku Black, it can be argued that this Gogeta was over 160 times stronger than Omen Goku. So now you see how ridiculous the power cliffing gets, right? Well, it gets even more wild from here on out. Because wouldn't you know, Dogi Dogi, the bird of Cataclysm who threatened to wipe out the multiverse, merges with Dark King Fu and amplifies his power even more, to the point that he endures energy attacks from Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Gogeta casually, and later defuses them with his time hacks, in a one-wing state as well. This is where it gets out of hand because after Fu banishes the two Vegetas, Kronoa steps in to help them by merging Xeno Goku and Capsule Corp Goku's ki together, and it empowers them so much that these two Gokus with their Kamehamehas are almost able to kill Fu, which even he admitted. Unfortunately, due to his immense power, Capsule Corp Goku had no other option but to try and fuse with the Universe Tree and use its power against Fu, which manages to work out as he does brawl with him, and he even manages to kill him with a powered up Kamehameha. Granted, the Universe Tree Goku is like an amped Goku, so this wouldn't apply to his normal set of power, but basically in this state, he was able to overpower a being who in a one-winged, arguably weaker state, was able to endure attacks from two Gogetas. But baseline, you can argue that the two merged Ki Gokus were stronger than the aforementioned fusions anyways, due to their feat of almost killing Fu. Another thing to note as well is that Fu, with the power of the birds, was able to turn time to 0, accelerate time, and even reverse it, which are abilities that Universe Tree Goku can be argued to have, as well, since those who absorbed Toki Toki had similar capabilities. Oh yeah, to get even crazier in the manga, Universe Tree Goku even goes as far as wiping out the whole tree, which is insane because, for reference, Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Vegito and Limits Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegito were unable to destroy it, further proving that he far eclipses the two fusions in his Super Saiyan Blue state alone, which is insane given that the power of Gogeta and by extension the power of the Vegetos have been stated to have power that transcends dimensions. Then we get to the next arc that is yet to conclude in the anime, which is the Super Space Tournament, where Omen Goku manages to face off and defeat Super Saiyan 3 Bardock. And to remind you guys, Super Saiyan 2 Bardock, although ultimately weaker than Super Saiyan 3 Rose Goku Black, was still able to hold his own against him somewhat. And that was before he got a massive power boost from the Dark Dragon Balls, meaning that Goku was able to defeat a massively amped Bardock, who likely scales above the Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Gogeta that defeated a full power Super Saiyan 3 Goku Black. Later, he goes on to counteract Ios's Time Freeze capabilities and precognition, and eventually defeats her in the manga, making her change her mind into, basically not wiping out all of the timelines like she intended. Given that Ios was able to overpower a transformed Kronoa, who in base alone was able to prevent the destruction of the real world in the Dragon Ball Heroes multiverse, this would make Goku a complex multiversal being on an immensely high scale. I would say between a 7th to 9th dimensional ranges, give or take, depending on how you view transcending fiction, super dimensions, and the multiverse in its entirety. There are also characters like Fu who managed to enter a higher dimension like the Charisma world, which view Beats' world as fiction. But no one, so far, has threatened to wipe it out, just yet. But I think it is fair to mention that they could eventually reach that pinnacle of power. You can argue that he scales much higher given that there are possibly infinite variations of the time nest, and in other words, there are infinite variations of 3 to 4 sets of infinite timelines. given that the time nest is on the edge of Universe 7. So, i.e., if there are infinite Universe 7s, that means that there would also be potentially infinite number of time nests with their own history from beginning to end, crack of times, parallel quests, and Tokipedias, and so on. Capsule Corp Goku would also scale from Few, who in Xenoverse 2 is able to reset the Tokipedia, which is a remake of the infinite history itself, through his own power. And he'd also scale massively above Michikabuda, who is weaker than Few, and was able to absorb every timeline into himself. And we have characters far weaker than both of them, being Sealess, who in Dragon Ball Heroes World Mission was threatening to wipe out all of existence. Capsule Corp Goku would also have infinite speed bare minimum, given that in the Fusion Reborn movie and in the Otherworld Tournament filler, he was able to quickly traverse from the infinite afterlife to the very bottom of hell in a short period of time. He would likely have high immeasurable speed, meaning that he has movement beyond linear time, given that demons such as Towa and Mira are completely disconnected from the flow of time, and due to him defeating Demigra, who is outright stated as transcending time and space. And even Super Saiyan 3 Beat, who is utter trash to these Gokus, was able to react to the Shadow Dragons, who are capable of invading all of the timelines and eras by flying towards them. It is also confirmed that demon gods can literally travel to different eras by simply flying to them as well. We've also seen Trunks chase characters through different eras by simply chasing them. He doesn't have to do any teleportation. So I think it is fair to say that Xeno Goku and Capsule Corp Goku would be able to give the Silver Surfer, Thor, and Superman a run for their money in a contest of speed. So as you can see, this Goku is immensely powerful, but he also has a wide menagerie of hacks and abilities that make him overpowered, going by the video games. To keep it simple, he has probability manipulation, given that he can increase the chances of an attack hitting or decrease the chances of an attack hitting him. He can also nullify an opponent's ability to increase their power, and can even reduce their abilities. He can passively reduce their stamina to the lowest stage possible, and he would also scale from Xeno Goku, who countered attacks to his very soul, as showcased in his battle with Shroom. What a great name. He can also use the Hakai, and can counter time hacks, as showcased with Mira overpowering Chrono's time freeze capabilities through raw power alone, who Xeno Goku and Capsule Corp Goku surpass as well. You can also argue that Xeno Goku and by extension Capsule Corp Goku have conceptual attacks, given that Xeno Goku and Xeno Vegeta, in their limit-breaking Super Saiyan 4 states, were able to Dragon Fist a powered-up Janemba out of existence, who is repeatedly mentioned by guidebooks as being the very manifestation, ideal, or concept of evil itself. This is somewhat consistent, as characters such as Hachiyak are also called the very concept, embodiment, or ideal of hatred, and even he got defeated. So as you can see, Capsule Corp Goku is easily a mid to high complex level multiversal being with incredible hack resistance and immensely ridiculous speed. I'd argue that this version of Goku is easily the strongest one out there, and since Super Dragon Ball Heroes is still continuing, he'll likely get much more powerful from here on out, and I wouldn't be surprised if they eventually transcend dimensions further beyond. Other than that, I hope that you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope that you learned something. Please be sure to subscribe, and be sure to check out Zenkai's blog and links in the description below, as he helped me out a lot with this project, so huge thanks to him as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you, thoughties next time. Peace out.